Hello. Well, I hope we're running live and okay. That's fine. Okay, well, welcome to the Nottingham Buddhist Centre. So my name's Gareth, and yeah, you're joining me for the Tuesday lunchtime meditation session. Yeah, so in some ways, there's sort of less of a theme today than there usually is. Although I'm going to attempt to make that into a theme in its own right. So for those of you who've not joined us before, the way these sessions work is that we alternate between two different meditations. So we're doing the mindfulness of breathing today, and that'll be the same for the other meditation sessions this week. There's one also tonight and another one on Friday lunchtime. And then next week we will go back to the sort of loving kindness meditation. Yeah, and if you're totally new to the practice, then you can find out a lot more about them and get a good sort of grounding from our meditation toolkit. And you can find the link for those videos below this in the video description. Yeah, so I will be guiding the meditation, so you don't need to be absolutely familiar with it, but yeah, it's good to have a bit of a grounding, which means we're sort of free to explore the different practices from slightly different angles. So yeah, this week, one of the things I suppose I'm working with is, or that's on my mind, both on and off the cushion, is sort of the unexpected. Um, yeah, so in meditation, often that manifests as, well, it can kind of come up in lots of different ways. Sometimes that's perhaps the unexpected is quite difficult. That it's, yeah, the thoughts you didn't particularly expect to be having to deal with, sort of perhaps memories from yeah, parts of your life that you haven't thought about in years that suddenly come up and seem to ask for attention. Or yeah, it could be sort of anything that's perhaps been in the background of our experience and now suddenly comes center stage and wants to be paid attention to. Um, uh, and the mindfulness of breathing is sort of, in some ways, it's a wonderful practice precisely because it gives space for those things to arise. And sometimes that unexpected sort of stuff that comes up is actually might actually be kind of wonderful. Something that I seem to be noticing in meditation at the moment is that often the practice seems to go deeper somewhat against my will. I feel as if I've been wandering a bit, and then suddenly suddenly I find that I'm much less distracted or something like that, or something pleasant has kind of arisen. And it's almost as if it's happened against, yeah, slightly without me sort of making it happen in the way I sort of imagine I ought to be, which perhaps says something about the way I'm still bringing a certain amount of expectation or will into the practice. But still, I think that's probably quite a common experience that, yeah, suddenly, yeah, depths kind of open up when we're meditating at times, which we didn't expect. Certainly, if you cast your mind back to the when you first started meditating, perhaps this is this might be still quite early in your sort of meditation path. Before we've meditated, there's no way we can know where it can lead. So inevitably, we're sort of having these encounters with unexpected aspects of our own minds, unexpected almost qualities of consciousness. And in some ways that's wonderful, but even that is somewhat disconcerting at times. That sense of it being not entirely under our control can actually be slightly unsettling. In some ways, it almost feels more comfortable to be in a to be distracted or to be dealing with our usual sort of preoccupations than to be, yeah, really concentrated or feel something's happening. That's unsettling in a way that I don't know, just really thinking a lot about our usual preoccupations isn't. There's something kind of comforting about that. I suspect there's something that probably points to something quite quite broadly true about the ways that we limit ourselves. But yeah, that's perhaps something to think about another time. So how exactly we're going to be sort of coming into that in the practice itself, I suppose today I'm kind of encouraging you to look forward to or even welcome those moments of unexpectedness, whether they're positive or negative in a way. Yeah, in some ways what we know and what we expect, whether it's good or bad, is a very kind of narrow path. It's a bit like in the way that when you, or as as we're all probably getting used to, when you stay in one place for a long time, you kind of become numb to it. You no longer see the room that you spend every day in with the same kind of clarity as when you moved into it or when you first arrived. And that's sort of just perfectly natural. We kind of get habituated to it. And in some ways, sometimes I think our whole lives are spent kind of both seeking that quality of comfort and familiarity, and then desperately trying to seek new things to break it up. It's as though we crave it, but we also want stimulation. And you sort of want both of those things at the same time, which means we end up sort of flopping between different sorts of behavior. And the amazing thing about meditation is that by sitting with the familiar, in this case, our breath, but also in some ways the usual content of our minds, suddenly we can come into a different relationship with it. Yeah, with both of those things, with the actual direct sensations of our breathing, with the usual, the content of our minds, and they can become fresh and new without you having had to have gone anywhere or consumed any new sort of information. So that feeling of freshness kind of rise even in the most familiar of experiences. Which is sort of a miracle, and slightly breaks down that engine that kind of drives us forward and sometimes backwards, like grasping after new experience and then retreating back into the comfort of what we know. Yeah, there's something about meditation which fuses those two things together. So yeah, when the unexpected comes up, whatever it happens to be, welcome it. Yeah, that's even if it's a difficult memory, that's still part of yourself that's become fresh as a result of the practice. And that's the same process that ultimately leads, I think, to a really much deeper sense of contentment and a sense of the richness of our own lives outside of a need for kind of constant stimulation from outside. Yeah, so that's going to be the sort of theme, the mood in the background. So if you're not already set up, then please find your meditation postures. I'm going to check the audio's fine. Yeah, it's fine. So rooting down into the ground, if you're not already in the posture you want. I'm just going to take a few moments just to set aside whatever we're usually preoccupied with. So we've made this space in which to sit and meditate. You don't need to do anything else. You can just try and make the most of the space we've afforded ourselves. Moving through a quick body scan. Also taking that as a chance to really settle into your meditation posture. So bringing awareness to the head, the neck and the shoulders. Softening any tension we find, releasing the different sections of the body, allowing them to come back into a sense of wholeness. Flowing down the arms into the hands. And back to the chest and the upper back. Allowing them to be open. And then down into the belly and the lower back. Down into the groin and the pelvis, feeling the contact with the chair, the floor, the stool, whatever you're on. And then down again into the legs. Really seeing if we can let go into the support of the ground, to that sense of rootedness. And then also rising up. Through the crown of the head. As we move into the mindfulness of breathing, starting to tune into the sensations of the breath, the nose, the top lip, and perhaps it's the movement of the ribs or the belly, the changing temperature or the texture. Whatever aspects of the breath are drawing your attention, getting a sense of it, and then starting to count. So breathing in, breathing out as you normally would. And after your next out breath, counting 1. Breathing in, breathing out, counting 1. Breathing in, breathing out, counting 2. Carrying on like that all the way up to 10, and then starting again. Each time we find our minds wandered, coming back to the breath, taking up the numbers again. And just trusting that the practice will unfold, that we won't stay exactly where we are now. Even if we can't quite imagine what's to come, things will change. Moving into the next stage and staying with the breath, still counting. This time we're moving the count before the in-breath. So counting 1, breathing in, breathing out. Counting 2, breathing in, breathing out. All the way up to 10, and then starting again. And just allowing the breath and the numbers to take us down, take us into some other state of mind. One in which the unexpected can arise. And we're still working with distraction whenever it arises. Coming back. And again, in keeping with the theme, when those unexpected thoughts come, try not to tense up around them, but just let them flow through you. Knowing what they are, knowing the charge they contain. and what they reveal. Moving into the third stage, letting go of the numbers, staying with the breath. The third stage, a chance to settle in deeper again, explore other aspects of the breath that we may have overlooked. And perhaps we ordinarily think of the breath as being limited to the chest, or the belly and the lungs. And in this stage we can just allow an awareness of its effect throughout the body to arise. And even begin to notice it in the head, in the hands and the feet. If you do have some sense of momentum, some sense of sitting differently in yourself, not trying to force it, just staying present. allowing the unexpected to arise. Moving into the fourth and final stage. Starting to focus on the air coming in, whether that's on the top lip, the nostrils, allowing those sensations to grow, reaching what may be unexpected levels of detail. It was there, just letting it come. And whether we are allowing things to unfold or still working with distracting thoughts, just recognizing what is unexpected, what is unknown in our experience, even as we just sit quietly in our own company. And starting to let go of the intention to stay with the breath, coming back to a broad awareness of the body. And really noticing those changes. What's different now? Letting go of any intention and just sitting for a few more moments. In a moment I'm going to ring the bell, and then you can draw the meditation to a close. Okay, well, thank you for sitting with me. I hope that whatever came up, you were able to enjoy those aspects of it that were unexpected. Yeah, I suppose it. Yeah, in some ways, the fact that we're going back into lockdown was not unexpected, and yet somehow it doesn't feel like any of us were entirely prepared for it either. Just on a sort of emotional level. So there's something about that of just sort of seeing the unexpected sort of emotional consequences of things playing out for ourselves and other people at this time, and sort of in a way being able to savor the way that familiar things are sort of transformed, and the sort of the way that that brings out signs of sort of very familiar places and experiences that we haven't sort of perhaps seen before. It's sort of been a bit like that. The whole kind of COVID experience has been a bit like that. I went on just before the lockdown. Well, yeah, a few weeks ago, sort of. I did manage to get out of Nottingham and go on retreat at one of the retreat centres that was doing a hybrid sort of session where some people are there and some people are online. And I've been there many times before, but it was really striking being in somewhere that was quite familiar to me and yet also having a very different experience from normal. And in some ways that was slightly uncomfortable, like having to relearn uh, what doors you could go in and sort of little procedural things. But in another way, it did make my experience of the place very vivid again. Uh, yeah, so even when the unexpected is sort of difficult or frightening, it does bring out a certain freshness in life again. Um, Yeah, so if anything is coming up in your practice, please feel free to message me. Hi, Simon. Yeah, either in the live chat, or you can always message us on social media or on the email. And yeah, whether that's about today's session or anything else that's going on at the centre. Of course, we were sort of it's sort of changed our plans a bit. So we still don't know exactly what we're doing, but certainly everything that we have been doing online will continue. Uh, yeah, so on that level, not it won't be too disruptive for us. So yeah, I hope you can continue to join us on here, and that's still proving beneficial for you. If that is the case, and you'd like to and are in a position to support us financially, you'll find the donation link underneath. That would be amazing. Actually, we're still completely dependent on the generosity of people like yourselves who are engaging with us online, and it just means we can continue to do what we're doing. Difficult financial times for everyone, and the centre's no exception from that. So yeah, please be generous if you can be. Otherwise, we are back tonight at 7:30, and then again on Friday at the same time at 1 o'clock. There are also, I will say, there are still places on the courses that are coming up. There's a follow-on course for those who've already done an introductory course with us. That is on Friday lunchtime. No, sorry, that starts this Friday, but I think they start at 10:30. I can't remember. It's a daytime session anyway. And there is a new introductory course, Radical Wisdom, and that is on next Tuesday. It starts on the 10th. And there's still places on that as well. I'm on the team for that one as well. So if you've not done one before, or you have, but you want to sort of have a slightly different take on the material, or just sort of a bit of a refresher, then please join us. It's going to be quite exciting, I think. Actually, it'll be nice to have a sort of build up a sense of community as well. We've been able to do that in some ways with other things that we're doing at the centre, but it'd be nice to do a course in these times as well. I think that's everything I've got to say. I think so. Well, I hope you're all keeping well. Hello, Simon. Hope your meditation was good today. I will see you next week. So take care.